Here's his audience.
That actually happened this time. Alright, so government-funded welfare has affected lives ever since the colonists came and founded America. Back then, the colonists kept the British Poor Laws that determined whether someone was too ill or elderly to work, or whether they were able-bodied enough and they were just unemployed. Now, welfare is expansive enough to cover 4.1% of the population of America, and it pays better than an $8 an hour job in 39 states. With the immense amount of money that is spent on welfare and for the public, something obviously has to change. The welfare that politicians refer to is Social Security, the TAMP program, food stamps, which is now SNAP, and a couple of other programs that provide money for people. And while there is some attempt at getting the working and non-working poor off of welfare, it's not enough. Welfare rules must change if we as a nation are to save money and keep everyone self-sustaining. So welfare as we know it began with Franklin Delano Roosevelt during World War II. Roosevelt brought Social Security into effect, as well as many other federal groups that were designed to help people and businesses through the tough times. Nowadays, Roosevelt's welfare programs are looked at as counterproductive to getting people off of welfare. Throughout the years, this original welfare concept was expanded upon and was revised heavily during Clinton's administration, where the Aid to Families with Dependent Children, which is AFDC, was changed to the TAMP program, which is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. This change focused mostly on the TAMP program and made it so single parents would have to work or do work-related activities like volunteering or community service, basically, for at least 30 hours a week to actually receive assistance, and couples would have to do at least 35 to 60 hours to receive assistance. So the reform that took place in 1996, which is during Clinton's administration, had a very specific goal of reducing the amount of people on welfare and getting them to be self-sufficient, which I think I have this one right here. Yeah, basically it's kind of small, but it shows how back in 96, I think that's the 80s actually, the caseload for the TAMP program and the AFDC dramatically declined when it was actually moved into drop by at least 55%. It's kind of ridiculous. Tiffany, you mixed up my cards. So, right now the requirements for obtaining financial assistance with the TAMP program are well on their way to actually helping people get off of financial assistance. Part of the policies it upholds says that financial assistance can only be used for 2 years if you're participating in at least 30 hours a week of employment in a family with all the children over age 6, or only 20 hours if you have anybody that's under the age of 6. The SNAP program, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance, which is the updated version of food stamps, changed slightly to prevent cheating by getting rid of the actual stamps that people would use and instead giving a debit card to everyone so that money could only be spent on food. They could actually keep track of it, and it would record every transaction that they made so they couldn't just sell it to other people. These changes are giant steps in the right direction for saving money on a federal and state level, because I think they're moving most of these programs over to a state level. So changes do need to continue though. In the decades before 1996, where TAMP was initiated in place of the AFDC program, the workload of families on the AFDC changed, as I show in the graph. However, when it was brought into effect, the caseload was cut in half, and employment rates and earnings among single mothers, which is where the TAMP program was mostly targeted to, soared. And that's not it. Roughly 3 million fewer children lived in poverty in 2003 than in 1995, which goes to show the improvements that took place when reform was made to help people on welfare to become more self-sustaining. Another solution to a portion of the problems can actually be taken from child support. If the inconsistencies and loopholes were closed in child support issues, mothers and fathers would be more forced to pay their child support, which would allow welfare checks to be a considerable amount less. Also, even though the TANF program says that it emphasizes work, when someone gets a job while they're on the program, their check and sometimes insurance gets cut considerably. And it's extremely unhelpful because it reinforces the idea of not working as hard to get more money. And so I also have a little thing at the top that shows from the welfare reform from 1996 how it reduced the amount of people that are actually on welfare there. Below, I think it's like below 11 billion, or they reduced the spending below 11 billion pretty easily for cash benefits, and then for people receiving assistance. Okay, so without change, there is no progress, and the changes that have been happening with our welfare system are for the better, as we can see from the improvement that has happened from the 90s. Progress is never done, though. We can always improve and always find better ways. Our welfare system is moving along, but it's not quite at the point that it should be. It's designed to help people to become more self-sustaining, but without further improvements, this won't happen. Now, the problem that we face today, and politicians obviously, is that everyone forgets that the statistics and numbers that get thrown around have names and faces. And these statistics try to raise children to lead better lives than they did, and try to live lives that they can be proud of. Now, in a perfect world, these same people would be able to conquer any financial obstacle thrown at them. However, this is no perfect world.
And his audience.
They're still here, bored as they may be.
Done.